WorkSafe Victoria acknowledges Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the traditional custodians of the land and acknowledges and pays respect to their elders, past and present. We thank the traditional owners for custodianship of the land and celebrate the continuing culture of the Wadawurrung people, acknowledging the memory of honourable ancestors.
This is the HSR podcast brought to you by WorkSafe Victoria, helping you achieve better health and safety outcomes in your workplace. I'm your host, Chris McKenzie, and it is great to have you with me for the very first episode in this series. Over the next 10 episodes, we're going to hear from industry experts and leaders in OHS, offering you advice, guidance and support on a range of topics relevant to health and safety representatives, employers and employees. But first, a little bit about us. WorkSafe is Victoria's occupational health and safety regulator and workers' compensation insurer. To put it simply, our job is to reduce workplace harm and improve outcomes for injured workers. We are here to educate, support and guide Victorian workplaces to provide a safe environment and hold employers to account if they fail to protect their workers. But WorkSafe can't be at every workplace all the time. And that's why the role of health and safety representatives, or HSRs for short, is so important. They play a crucial role in getting Victorian workers home safe at the end of each day. Someone who knows all about that is WorkSafe's Manager of Industry and Representation Support, Anita Ford. G'day, Anita.
Hey, Chris. How you going?
Good, thank you. Anita, a key objective of Victoria's Occupational Health and Safety Framework is to promote greater involvement and cooperation between employers and employees, and that includes HSRs. So why are HSRs so important?
HSRs are amazing people. So they're people who voluntarily put their hand up to say, I care about my team, I care about my workplace, and they're the eyes and ears of all workplaces, and they get a say and they have quite a lot of powers to be able to make safety the number one priority in a workplace.
So why have we started this podcast?
Well, part of my team, we deal with all things representation, and HSRs come under that. So I have HSR Support Officers within the team, and one thing that they constantly hear is, I just wish my bosses or my people leaders knew more about my role and what I did. So that's where I got the idea to let's get it out there, let's do a bit of education, but do it in a fun way that's easy to listen to. So that's how the idea of the podcast started. And then we have a great team here at WorkSafe that have helped me put it all together. So I couldn't be more grateful for them, and I hope you guys enjoy listening. What we do hope to do is provide some practical tips, some links to operational resources, but also some examples of us as safety professionals, what we go through and how it sometimes isn't as easy as we expect it to be. And being a leader does involve caring and looking after your people. And OHS is pretty much the basis of that, is looking after your people and caring about them. WorkSafe, we believe that the role of HSRs should be encouraged, supported and protected. We believe that there should be more HSRs in Victoria. So this is really a call to action. If you are interested, if you are wanting to become a HSR or to learn more about HSRs, subscribe to the podcast, give us a listen, but jump on our website as well. And hopefully we got some great examples from great experts across WorkSafe. And I personally hope that this series can help a HSR, even if it's just a small way in each day. That would be amazing for me.
Thank you, Anita. Great to have you with us. And we're going to catch up more with you across the series to talk about some really specific legal obligations for employers on today's topic and the rest of the topics across this series of podcasts.
Look forward to it, Chris. Thank you.
It is the HSR podcast brought to you by WorkSafe, helping you achieve better health and safety outcomes in your workplace. And coming up in the next few episodes, we're going to dig a little deeper into exactly what a health and safety representative is, how they get elected, who they represent, and what powers they have under the OHS Act and regulations. But in this podcast, we're going to talk a little bit more generally about how getting employees involved in health and safety matters can result in a safer workplace. And to do just that, we're joined by Dr. Narelle Beer, who's WorkSafe's Executive Director of Health and Safety. Welcome, Narelle.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at WorkSafe.
Well, I'm really lucky to be the Executive Director of Health and Safety. So that means I get to support all the wonderful folk out there from advisory, where the first phone calls come in, through to prevention, across to field operations, so the inspectors that go out and have a look at the workplaces to make sure people are safe, and finally to the investigators, where unfortunately where employers don't do the right thing, WorkSafe will hold them to account and prosecutions will occur.
And before you got to WorkSafe, Narelle, you had a long career in policing. So you've had more than 35 years experience in community safety experience. And I'm guessing that means you've had a lot to do with consultation over that time.
Absolutely. And the thing I've learnt most is that we are better together and we can't do things by ourselves. And if we think we can, then we're letting not only ourselves, but the very people that we're trying to help and represent, we're letting them down.
Now, consultation can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But for us, under the OHS Act, in terms of employers and employees, what does consultation mean?
Well, consultation means that we actually get the employers to speak with the employees, and that's often done through the HSRs or the health and safety representatives to find out what the workplace health and safety issues are. And if we truly listen to the employees, then we actually get the answers, and most likely we'll get the solutions as to how we can rectify the OHS issues. So negotiations, it's not about telling people what we've already made a decision on or passing on what we think our opinions are, but it's actually about giving the people that do the job the opportunity to tell us what works and what doesn't work, where they feel unsafe and how we can support them to feel safe and to go home every night.
And why is it so important, Narelle? It can really make or break a workplace's culture, can't it?
Absolutely. So the people that are doing the job understand what works and what doesn't work. And the last thing they need is some boss or some expert coming in thinking that they know what really happens. And if we don't listen to our employees, we do create a culture of mistrust. We stop communication. We create cliques and there becomes a real divide, and that leads to an unsafe workplace, both physically unsafe and mentally unsafe.
Thanks, Narelle. As we mentioned, employers do have some specific obligations under our Act and regulations in relation to consultation. So let's bring back in Anita to give us the specifics.
There are some specific things employers need to consult their employers on to comply with legislation, specifically Section 35 of the Occupational Health and Safety Act 2004. These include when identifying or assessing hazards or risks to health and safety arising from activities of the business, making decisions about the measures to be taken to control risks to health or safety at the workplace, making decisions about the adequacy of facilities for the welfare of employees, making decisions about the procedures to resolve health and safety issues, consult with employees on health and safety, monitor employees' health and safety in the workplace and the workplace conditions, and provide information and training, deciding the membership of any health and safety committee in the workplace, proposing changes that may affect the health and safety of employees to any of the following: the workplace, plant, substances, or other things used in the workplace, the work performed at the workplace, and any other thing as prescribed in the OHS regulations.
So, Narelle, how should consultation occur?
It's really about sitting down with folk and actually having an honest and open conversation about health and safety, sharing with them information about the thing or the matter that you're actually consulting on. It's not going in with predetermined outcomes, and it's not going in thinking that we already know the answers, but it's about going in and putting the questions on the table and letting everyone have a voice and an opinion, and then actually listening to what each and everyone says, making sure that they have a reasonable opportunity to express their views about the matter.
I think that's a really important point, isn't it? Taking that advice on board.
Absolutely. And when you're as old as me, that you learn very quickly that you don't know it all, and there's lots of people out there that know much more. And so more minds and more thoughts is really how we're going to create a safe environment.
We've spoken about it briefly, but who exactly do employers need to consult with?
They absolutely need to consult with the HSRs. HSRs are the minds and the eyes and the ears of the workplace. They're the people that are doing the do, and they're the people who know who they need to speak to, who's got the right answers, who's got the expertise, who's had the bad experiences and the good experiences, and how we can bring all of that to the table.
Have you got some examples, Narelle, of how consultation has improved health and safety in a workplace?
I can remember way back in my past life when I was a police officer and in the late 80s where we would go to a critical incident and quite often back then we would all run in and inevitably one of us would get hurt or harmed in some way. And it was really important to understand, why do we need to go straight in and why can't we just stop, stand back, look at the environment, listen, talk, communicate. And if we have to wait there for a period of time, we actually don't lose anything by doing that, but potentially we stop harm. So asking the people on the ground what better ways there were to do a task that we had done in and out every day, every week, every year, and getting a different result was how we actually stopped harm occurring in the workplace. So really important to listen to the people doing the job. And just because we've always done it this way for a long period of time doesn't mean it's the right way to do it.
And helpers out there as well for employers if they're unsure on this.
Absolutely. And, lots of employers may have done the previous jobs many, many years ago, but things change. Equipment changes, environments change, cultures change, and people change. And if we don't change, then that's when things go wrong.
And what about some tips for employees to get started, Narelle?
I think one of the first things is to consider how employees actually want to be consulted. And I think that that's become really valid, particularly in the COVID era when lots of people are working from home or geographically they're not all together. We really need to ask people, how do they want to be engaged? How often do they want to be engaged? And I think the other thing that's really important is closing the loop. So coming back with them after the engagement to say, we heard what you said and this is where we're going and this is because of the great work and the information that you provided us. Thank you.
And Narelle, we're going to speak more throughout the series about HSRs and how important they are. But can you just talk to your experience with HSRs and the role they play in workplaces across Victoria?
HSRs are so important to WorkSafe and to every working environment. And WorkSafe simply can't be in every duty holder or every company or every business every day. But the HSRs are the absolute ears and eyes on the ground. They know what's working, they know what's not working, and they have the legislative authority to raise concerns with their employers. And we, every day, will support them in doing that. And if they're not sure, please ring us. We've got the best unit to support HSRs and their sole role is to assist and support HSRs. So if you haven't got a HSR, please go and get some. They're invaluable.
Great advice. Narelle, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
So just to recap some of the points from Narelle there, involving employees in health and safety issues can result in a much safer workplace. Employers get input on hazards, risks and solutions from people who understand and do the work. Being involved in making decisions can also give people a stronger commitment to implementing them, and communicating on health and safety issues also builds cooperation and trust between employers and employees. Under the OHS Act, employers have a legal duty to consult where they can with employees who are or who are likely to be directly affected by health and safety matters. And this could include when identifying hazards and risks and making decisions on how to control them. If there is a health and safety representative or HSR, employers must involve them in consultation. And remember, consultation means giving employees the chance to shape health and safety decisions and actions taken by their employer. Telling people about them afterwards isn't consultation. We're going to hear more on good consultation and get some examples later in the series. But in the meantime, check out the links in the text below for further information on today's topic. This is the HSR podcast brought to you by WorkSafe, helping you achieve better health and safety outcomes in your workplace. Next time, we'll be joined by WorkSafe's Director of Regional Operations, Chris Walker, to find out more about health and safety representatives and their crucial role in resolving workplace issues. Until then, if you have any OHS issues or concerns or to lodge a case, you can contact WorkSafe's advisory service on 1800 136 089. You can also head to the WorkSafe website to subscribe to our monthly newsletter sharing news, events and resources for HSRs. And if you are an HSR in Victoria, WorkSafe has dedicated support officers available whenever you need. Just email hsro@worksafe.vic.gov.au.
Please note, this information is based on laws applying in Victoria only. It is correct at the time of recording, but is not to be relied upon as legal advice. This episode does not outline all the legal obligations under Victoria's occupational health and safety laws.